Here's what's coming up on the First Take Podcast. Well, the Bills hand the Patriots a loss on Monday Night Football. Plus, is Romo ready to lead the Cowboys to the NFC East title? And should the Broncos keep Peyton on the bench this season? That and so much more coming up. Hope you all had a wonderful weekend. Appreciate you joining us. Welcome into First Take. Skip Bayless, Stephen A. Smith, Molly Karam here with you.
How about them Cowboys?
Yeah. There's only one thing left to do, Skip.
This man is playing a little hurt.
Yep.
Got to say that.
Under the weather.
So
my man.
Yeah. But you're still here, like always.
Hello.
Always show up. Good to see you.
Molly, how you doing?
I'm good.
All right.
Let's get into it.
Yes.
Tony Romo is back and picked up where he left off, snapping the Cowboys' 7-game losing streak with a 10-point win over the Miami Dolphins. Dallas now just 1 game behind the Eagles and Redskins and 2 behind the Giants. Skip, from what you saw Sunday, what chance do you give the Cowboys to win the division?
Stephen A. Smith, as that game wound down yesterday in Miami, I must admit that I almost went Terrell Owens. I was almost moved to tears. Oh. That's my quarterback.
Oh, my goodness.
That's my quarterback, and he's back. Stephen A. Smith, Tony Romo changes everything. To Molly's question, yes, I think they have a great shot at winning an extremely winnable division. I think 8-8 could win. Heck, I think 7-9 might win this division as I look down the schedules. So I kind of like my Cowboys better than I like the rest of the junk in this division, to tell you the truth. So I'm watching Tony Romo yesterday, and I'm watching the offense and the defense spring back to life just because Tony Romo was back. It was as simple as that, his mere presence. Now, I realize this was just the Dolphins, although they had one at the Eagles. That got a little discounted yesterday. But I'm going to remind you, my Dallas Cowboys had lost 7 straight games. My Cowboys had lost their way, their edge, their confidence in close games, 6 of which had been close and they'd blown all 6 of them. But what happened when Miami tied it at 14 mid-third quarter? Tony Romo immediately took charge and took this team 80 yards in 8 plays, the last 16 yards to Dez Bryant versus double coverage, just like the great old days. And that's when I sat back and watched everything change before my very eyes. Body language changed. Swagger was back on the defensive side of the ball. Special teams started getting special again. And good things started happening simply because of number 9's presence. Now, he did make a couple of rusty, careless, old Romo kind of throws, 2 interceptions. They were disgusting. They were despicable. They were any word you want to attach to them. But I do believe he will clean those up as he gets back, into the flow. Darren McFadden sprang back to life. I thought he actually did a pretty good, dare I say, DeMarco Murray impression with 29, not 12 carries, 29 carries for 129 yards. And dare I say, Robert Turbin just might be a little godsend for them, a little low-slung muscle between the tackles, high energy. I kind of like the 1-2 punch at running back all of a sudden. So, back to Molly's question, can they win the division? They have the best offensive line in the division. I think they now have the best defense in the division. I've always thought they had the best skill players in total with Romo in the division. So I realize the schedule is flat out brutal. Here comes Cam Newton and 10-0 Carolina on Thanksgiving. Then it's at Washington, where they can be really good at home as they are bad on the road. Then it's at Aaron Rodgers. Pretty tricky. They kind of bounced back to life yesterday. Jets at Buffalo and finish Washington at home. It's brutal. It's rough. But I think my Cowboys are about to get on a roll because I like them to win this division and get to the Super Bowl with Romo and Dez. And now that both are back, here they come.
Well, it's really cute for you to believe that. I totally understand where you're coming from. I was happy for you yesterday. I should have never picked the Miami Dolphins.
Thank you for doing that. I appreciate that.
Playing, we were just playing,
So now you were just playing with that?
No.
Okay,
what I mean is
fine.
we were playing a hard game with that particular pick. I didn't feel like picking the Dallas Cowboys. I don't believe in Miami Dolphins. I think you know that. I think that Darren McFadden rushing for 129 yards, 96 in the second half, if I remember correctly, was emblematic of this defense, which has been, porous against the run run for most of the season. Sue's been balling. Yeah. He's been balling, no question about it. But offensively speaking, they've been challenged, to say the least. Defensively, they were inconsistent. And going up against the Dallas Cowboys team with Tony Romo returning, having lost 7 straight, playing with house money, it put the Dallas Cowboys in a good position. Terrence Williams showed up and played. Des Bryant had a touchdown catch. McFadden ran the ball effectively. Tony Romo threw 2 bad interceptions, but that's expected. He's rusty. He hasn't played in so many weeks. He can be forgiven for that. But in terms of being excited about the Cowboys, let's pump the brakes a little bit. Let's not lose it. The reality is very, very simple. In order for the Dallas Cowboys to win this division and make the playoffs, they're going to have to be perfect. They can't really afford to lose any game whatsoever.
Yes, they can.
I'm not sure they can. I don't believe that. I believe that the Giants will find a way to win 4 more games this season. I just believe that. Obviously, I don't think it's highly about the Philadelphia Eagles and the Redskins, which we'll get into.
Yep.
But I understand your enthusiasm. I get where you're coming from. I can't poo-poo that. And it's clear that the Dallas Cowboys are the best team within the NFC East when Tony Romo is healthy. Because for some reason with the Giants, they can't get their defense together, and they can't get Victor Cruz healthy to save his life. He's going to be out for the season. But I look at the Dallas Cowboys right now, and I say you pretty much have to win every game. I don't think they're winning this Thursday against Carolina. I reserve the right to change my mind before Thanksgiving. But right now,
I reserve the right to make my pick about an hour into the show.
That's right.
How about that?
That's right.
I'd love that.
Maybe not. I'm just of the mindset that, we'll get into all of that. And then you've got Green Bay. Obviously, they've made amends for their recent struggles. Of course, you've got the Jets and Buffalo on the schedule coming down the pike. So I look at it from the perspective that the Dallas Cowboys, I could easily see them going 5-2, possibly 6-1, but likely 5-2. Either scenario, I just don't believe will be good enough to win the NFC East. If it is, it's pretty pathetic. But I guess things can happen. After all, the Carolina Panthers didn't make the playoffs last year at 7-8-1.
That is true. No team has ever come back from 2-7 to make the playoffs. And my Cowboys have that carrot out in front of them. They have a quarterback last week who you were underestimating how bold he was, saying, "Here we come. It starts now." He did use the Major League clip. He tweeted it out to show that woebegone Cleveland Indians team in last place, Tom Berringer making a locker room speech in the clubhouse to say, well, I guess there's just one thing left to do. Go win the whole bleeping thing. Well, that's what he's saying. He's sending that message to his teammates because I believe he believes it. Because I believe that he stood on the sidelines. And by the way, I give him a lot of props for. He went to every game. He stood on the sidelines. He didn't say I got to rehab. Nope. He was there every time, every game, cheering them on, watching them come so close in 6 of the 7 games. So he's saying, hey, this is a really good team. It's just missing a couple of plays from the quarterback. And he gave them a couple of huge plays yesterday, and he knows they'll just flip it around, flip the script on the NFC East. They got the best team, and here they come. Deep hole, but here they come.
Well, listen, all I'm saying to you is this. You say all of that, but you sound like you're speaking about championship as opposed to just playoffs. And I'm saying to you, winning the whole bleeping thing from Tony Romo means absolutely nothing to me because when healthy in 9 years as a starter, he hasn't won the whole bleeping thing. A matter of fact, he hasn't even won 2 playoff games in a particular playoff series, to a playoff season, rather, to produce it. He has a grand total of 2 playoff victories in his career. So I don't care how demonstrative he is or, how bold he is in his predictions. Tony Romo is in no position to make any kind of predictions whatsoever. Why don't you get to an NFC championship game? Could you make me a favor? Could you do that? I mean, could you do at least that? Because last time
this year you will.
No, well, maybe. You can talk maybe all you want to. I'm going on fact. The fact is he hasn't. And the fact is he's been a starter. How many years in the league now? 9 complete seasons.
Ancient
this
history.
is the 10th year. But you can talk ancient history all you want to. I'm just talking about his in terms of his guarantees. The guarantees mean absolutely nothing because he's in no position to give any guarantees because he hasn't been that thorough in that regard. Can't even get to an NFC championship game, let alone to a Super Bowl. When that happens, come talk to me. Up until that time, he's just another cowboy looking for headlines.
Okay, right here, right now, who's the best team in the NFC East?
Cowboys.
Thank you. Next
the way they
question, Molly.
look. No, it's not the next question. No, not so fast. Not so fast. They're 3-7. Mm-hmm. They just lost 7 straight before winning one game, and they have to depend on others. Even if the Dallas Cowboys win every single game with Tony Romo, they still have to depend on the help of others before they are to get to where you project. So that's not end of discussion. It's not end of question.
Go look at the Giants' schedule and tell me it isn't end of story.
Well, it's not end of story yet. The games still have to be played. The Dallas Cowboys, Tony Romo could get hurt again.
He could.
There you go. Des could go down.
Hey.
You understand?
Wait. Eli could go down.
Tell me.
Well, you threw it at me. Eli could go down.
But we're talking about
Odell
probability.
Beckham could go down.
Wait a minute.
All right, let's all be positive.
Wait a minute.
Well,
if you're going to throw it at me.
Eli Manning hasn't missed a start since when? Since when? When has Eli Manning been unavailable?
He had an ankle.
When has Eli Manning been unavailable? When?
Well, I don't remember.
When?
I'd
It
have
has
to
not
look it
happened.
up.
So my point, don't bother. The answer would be never. He's always available. 16 starts every single season for the last decade. So there's your answer.
Wait, help me out on this.
Sure.
Eli last made the playoffs 4 years ago? Is that right?
That's
4
true.
years ago?
Every 4 years.
Wow.
Pretty lucky.
How many rings? Say it. Say it with me. How many rings? Two.
Oh, just because you're in the commercial.
Two.
Skip, I will give you this, though. Your Cowboys, the only bright spot in the division yesterday. The Eagles and Redskins both allowing 5 TDs, those defenses. Let's talk about one of those games now. Jameis Winston and the Bucs just embarrassed Philly. Winston connected with 5 different receivers, tying an NFL record for passing TDs in a single game by a rookie. Doug Martin ran all over the Eagles for 235, the most rush yards in a game by any player since Martin himself rushed for 251. That was in 2012. The Eagles lost 45-17, Stephen A. Should Chip Kelly survive this season?
Well, first of all, he will be coaching for the rest of the season because I don't think that he's going to quit. But let's be very, very clear. It would not surprise me at all. As a matter of fact, I fully anticipate that this will be Chip Kelly's last season in Philadelphia. Wow. I think that he has a bevy of options. And to be quite honest with you, I think he's at a point right now where the only people in Philadelphia who want him is Jeffrey Lurie. And I'm not sure how owner Jeffrey Lurie is feeling about him these days. It's not just that they lost. It's that on too many occasions this season, they've been stinking up the joint. And when you look at the fact that they've been stinking up the joint, combined with the reasons why that is, which is a lack of talent at a multitude of positions, that's really when it hits home for you. We all know that Nick Foles is nothing to brag about. But when Nick Foles is getting paid less than $1 million, and Sam Bradford, or Skip would say Sam Bradford is getting getting paid $13 million, and that's a swap that you make. That's bad enough. When Deshaun Jackson just catches a bomb for a touchdown against the Redskins yesterday, you sort of fantasize about that deep threat that could have been in Philadelphia still to this very day. When you're looking at the year that Jeremy Maclin is having in Kansas City for Andy Reid, you know what he could have done in Philadelphia. When you're looking at Shady McCoy and his elusivity, his evasive skills, and then you see a guy like DeMarco Murray, who I like, who you like, we both recognize would have been better for the Cowboys. But this dude has a 185-pound cornerback coming at him in last week's game against Miami. And instead of going for the first down, he literally slides so he doesn't get hit. And you've got guys in your locker room questioning whether or not he's giving it his all. It speaks to a bevy of problems that are going on inside the locker room of the Philadelphia Eagles. Yesterday, Doug Martin, I'm going to repeat this, Doug Martin, who can play, who is no scrub. 235 yards rushing on 27 carries, averaging 8.7 yards a carry, really including an 85-yard touchdown run. 84 yards. I'm just looking at this. That wasn't a touchdown run, by the way, but it's 84 yards. I'm just looking at him, and I'm saying, you've got to be kidding me. Jameis Winston, 19 for 29, 246 yards, 5 touchdowns, not a single interception, a 131 quarterback rating. You just look at these guys out here. And what you're looking at when you see the Eagles, Skip, on several positions, there was talent that was there. You didn't lose it due to injury. You didn't lose it because you know what they said, we're going to leave and go get money elsewhere. You tried to keep them. No, it was Chip Kelly saying, I ain't worried about them. I got my own peeps. We'll do what we do the way I want it. He literally pushed those people out the door because his system, his philosophy and belief system usurps all talent. And just like he did it in college, he's going to do it in the NFL. Well, here's the news flash. I don't recall one single national championship taking place at Oregon in the Chip Kelly era.
Yep.
And I don't see a Super Bowl title in the near future. And I think that Philadelphia has caught on to it. And I think that this city, looking at the talent that they once had and how they were pushed out the door by Chip Kelly, the patience has worn thin. Obviously, he can resurrect. They'll change their mind at the drop of a hat. If suddenly he turns around and wins his final 5 games.